Okay, and then we are going to go to live. So you'll have to forgive me a minute just while it boots into the live screen. So share onto a page. We're going to share it to the ICAN page, and we should be about to go live. I'm just waiting for it to go. It says it's preparing the live stream. Yeah, and we should be live on Facebook. Right, so right, we're live on Facebook. Hi Theo, how you doing?
Hi Freya.
Hi. Right, so for anybody who's just watching, just give me 2 seconds while I set us up so that we can share across all our different channels, and then Theo and I will get started on our this month's Get to Know. So while I'm doing this, Theo, how are you?
I'm fine. I nearly had no signal a little while ago, and that was a bit of a shock.
Oh, it's always the way, isn't it?
Thank you, Freya. How are you?
I'm actually really good. I'm just glad that my signal's working as well, to be honest with you. Now I'm just trying to get my phone to work, which is the next hurdle.
My signal's been quite bad at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, I found us on here. So I'm just literally going to share us around to the other pages, and then we can get going. So have you had a busy day today?
I've had quite a quiet day today. I've had a very busy week and I've had a quiet day today. It's been, yes, I had my daughter staying with me last week and cancelled most things, so I've been catching up.
Oh, wow. Yes. You had your grandchildren around as well, didn't you?
I did, yes.
I bet that was lovely.
Oh, it was great. They had to stay a long time because their car broke down.
Yeah.
And we had a big drama there and they couldn't get back.
Yeah. So how old are your grandchildren now?
Well, the two who came, one is 6 and the other's 14, but they were left by the road by the RAC for 5 hours.
Oh, really?
Before they came, and then they were dumped off miles from home at a service station. So it was all a bit of an ordeal, really. But yes, nice for the dogs, though. Nice for 2 of my dogs, anyway, to have the children. They love them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bet it's really nice seeing them again after COVID and everything as well, isn't it?
Yes, I've seen them a few times since, but it was a long time. They grow so quickly. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and it just seemed to go on forever, didn't it?
Yeah, I've had 5 children of my own. So
have you?
Yes,
I never knew that.
Long time ago, of course.
I never knew that.
Oh yes.
Right, so I think I've nearly found all of our groups, because Theo and I, we belong to quite a lot of the same groups together. So we belong to, say, the ISCP and to Interdogs and that, don't we? But you were one of the first people at ISCP, weren't you?
I believe I was the first student. I don't think I was the first graduate, but I think I was the first student and the second graduate. I might have it the wrong way round.
Yeah?
Yes.
No, I remember Lisa telling me. And you were also one of the founding members of Interdogs as well, weren't you?
I was, yes. I that's right. That was about 13 years ago now.
So you've been around doing all this for a while now.
I have been around, yes.
How did you get started in
well,
this sort of thing?
It was strange. As a career, if you like, it's met me late in life, as you can see. But it's almost like all the other things I've done in my life have led to this. It's going to be very boring. Would you like me to skip this bit out?
No, I'm actually fascinated.
Well, my first training was as a teacher, and so I was a school teacher. I taught in a boys' school, which actually comes in very useful, because basically that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And, if I have boys or kids on the Zoom consultations I do, it's natural to me to involve them, because that's what I've been trained to do. Then, amongst all sorts of other things, I'm quite entrepreneurial. I started by buying a franchise for a dating agency. And then I bought them out and bought the other people out and ran an introduction agency. And now what that involved was, back in the day, before internet dating, it involved interviewing all your clients, some in hotels, some came into the office. I'm actually sitting in the room now where it was the office. And, interviewing them for an hour or two.
Right.
And then what I did, employed staff who were on the phone who'd then try to pair them up, and you get the women saying they didn't want to meet bald men, and this poor woman on the phone trying to sell the man and trying to pretend he had got hair. It was really quite funny. Anyway, yes, I did that, and in a way it's interviewing people again and discussing what they're feeling like and stuff. It sort of, yes, as far as the dogs are concerned, I had at the time, this would have been about 18 years ago, I think, a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd.
Right.
And I was very involved in dog training, very old school dog training, choke chains, yanking them.
Yeah.
All that stuff, very much the old school stuff. And I then, well, these dogs, they were very, very good in the hall. You had this hall full of about 20 dogs, all having to be quiet, and also were terrorized into being quiet. Yeah. And so my two dogs were brilliant in the hall. As soon as we went out, they saw another dog across the road, they'd want to kill it, and so it was like they were trained to do things, but they weren't really feeling good. And then I read The Dog Listener by Jan Fennell. Now, really, if anyone's listening who is thinking of this, don't read The Dog Listener by Jan Fennell. But
say that live.
But 18 or so years ago, whatever it was, 16, 17 years ago, it was quite revolutionary, because it was really moving right away from harsh training.
Yeah.
I would say that it's a bit controlling, not very kind, but more of in a mental way.
I think for anybody who's listening, it was kind of it was the first steps in the right direction.
It was definitely the first steps. But it did strange things. It was very much into being dominant and alpha, and showing the dogs who's boss and the rest of it.
And of course, we don't know how Jan Fennell or anybody else trains now, so we can't say what they're doing.
She still does these courses. She still does. I believe her son runs them and still do courses. And I'm not sure I don't know if it's changed. But so I can't really speak for her. But for me, I was very active to begin with. I took 2 courses straight away. My daughter, because I had no money then, my daughter bought me the first course, and I did the second one straight on it. And after 5 residential days, I then launched myself into the world as a dog behaviorist, a dog listener. And the 4 things you had to do. One was eat before the dog, let it see you eat, ignore the dog for 5 minutes when you went anywhere, but these set things. And so I went out into the world, and I'd done about 15 of them, thinking I knew everything, because it was like a cult. If anybody disagreed with you, they were wrong. Yeah. So it was very persuasive, and
I think that happened with a lot of different trainers in those days as well, didn't it? So
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, I started questioning. We had a very active forum. Anyway, long story shorter, I was thrown out after the end of the year because I kept bringing in different things, talking about different things and different methods and different things in the forum. And I panicked. I thought, heavens, if I couldn't call myself a dog listener, my internet connection's not good. Well, it's all right. If I couldn't call, I'd lose my business. Well, actually, it was totally the opposite. I left, and my business doubled.
Yeah. So I'm actually getting some messages in already for you, and they're from Andrew. Andrew says,
"Love you, Theo." Listening, is he?
So Andrew says, "Love you, Theo." He says, "You're a true inspiration. It's been a privilege to work with you and have you as a friend. And apparently, I'm amazing too." So hi, Andrew.
Oh well, that's nice. It wasn't a question; it was a nice statement.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very encouraging.
Yeah, we quite
you're
like
not telling me to shut up.
No, but can we just say? We just have to say that but back then there was different ideas about dog training to what there is now. So
absolutely, of course.
So of course what was acceptable then is totally different now. So anything that sounds shocking nowadays wasn't in those days.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I have taken a journey from there, from the harsh dog training through Jan Fennell, looking and now all the courses and all the qualifications that I've got, bring me up to date. Really, which is why I'm a member of an organisation, actually 3 organisations, which are members of ICAN.
Yeah, and those are again?
IMDT, Victoria Stilwell VSPDT, and one called Into Dogs.
That one, yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah. All right. So obviously we had COVID last year, and that was obviously rather a struggle for all of us. Now, I know just before COVID, me and you, we were starting to talk about online marketing and stuff, weren't we, at one point?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And that really come in handy for you last year, didn't it?
in a way, because obviously my age, there's going to come a time when I'm not going to want to drive sort of an hour to somebody both ways.
I don't want to now.
4 or 5 times a week like you, but you know, I have to stop sometime. This actually pushed me into it. And you know, I thought, well, now what am I going to do? I'm going to do online consultations. And now even when I see somebody in person, I'll do an online one first, because it gets all the groundwork done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without the dog there, and sometimes that's quite useful.
It's actually, especially in anxiety cases, like the sort that we work with, having to the dog, putting the dog through meeting someone can actually hinder it rather than help, can't they? So
a lot of the stuff you don't want to see, because my argument is I don't want the dog ever to be doing that anymore. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're finding them good too, aren't you?
Yes, yeah, I'd absolutely love online training now. To start with, it was absolutely terrifying, but it was like, you know, but needs must, and people adapt. And now I prefer to do that above any training, even in person training.
The thing is, you're actually doing training, which I think is a lot more clever than what I do.
Yes and no, because most of my stuff is behaviour work, you know, but I do a lot of games-based stuff, so it doesn't actually involve too much, although you have to have your timing right and all that kind of thing. It's quite easy to describe to the client, and you can show it on one end of the screen and they can copy on the other end of the screen.
I find clicker training quite easy to do. The thing about the consultations, I have a pattern, but I feel that it's a bit, I mean, should I tell you how I feel about what is that I'm not trying to save the world and trying to being too clever at all. What I feel, it's a bit like if you go to the doctor, if it's just general stuff, the doctor will sort it for you.
Yeah.
Then, but everybody starts with the doctor. Yes. And now if they need something more, they'll send you to a specialist. So that's a little bit how I see it. The sort of groundwork is really almost needs to be in place before you can do nearly anything else. And so much, it's about educating the owners or the carers. It's about educating them on stuff which surprising that very few people know about, you know, giving a dog choice, you know, not over arousing it, all those sort of basic things, and I'd say the impact of food and maybe pain and all the obvious things. Which really you get out of the way before they then go and can do all the other more clever stuff where I pass them on. Then, you know, so I'm not trying to do everything. No, but, you know, it's also a lot of people's behaviorists get their people from vets, as I used to, but now I tend to catch those people who don't go to the vet, and they're going to go to somebody. If they don't go to us, they're not. So if they get to me, then I normally send them to the vet.
So one thing I find as well is that people that come to you online, they're the sort of people that they were a bit nervous about approaching the vet, or they're a bit nervous about approaching like a behavioural trainer in their town, and they find you more approachable online.
Absolutely. I think actually that's where Facebook plays its part, in that you sort of make friends with them first. Yeah, absolutely. And you have a reputation that's been built up, and it goes before you, and people say, oh, that person's nice and kind, don't worry, you know.
Yeah, and they can share you to their friends nice and easily as well.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's great. I love it. I've done 300 of them now.
Have you really? Oh, wow.
So I absolutely love it.
And the other good thing is you get to build up your little communities, don't you? So you can build up your groups, and you can get to know people, and they can get to know each other as well.
Exactly. I've now started a group for people who I've actually had the one-to-ones with. My main group is just anybody basically who's got a dog. And it's really nice because they can talk to each other.
Yeah, they have that support, don't they? That they do.
Yeah, and you know the support they give each other is going to be relevant. It's not going to be somebody coming and say, well, you ought to use shock collar.
Yeah, because you can keep an eye on the support they're giving each other too.
They've been through your system, so they obviously you're not going to do that.
Yeah, honestly, it's so now that we've come out the other side of COVID, although obviously I'm not glad that we went through COVID, I'm glad for so many of the things that we've learned on the way through, because who would have thought that you know, this time a couple of years ago, we would be sort of tech wizards. You know?
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, And
Yeah.
you are amazing. You are bossing it. You're like, you are.
Well, that's nice coming from you, because you're the person I keep asking things. But I started off with the first word processor years ago. Then it was a Sinclair computer, and it was, so in a way I've grown with it. Though I have to admit I'm getting left behind now.
You're not. You're so far ahead of me. Honestly, you're doing so well.
You know that's not
And
right.
do you know what I mean? You're kind of famous now among all us dog behaviourists and stuff as being the online lady. You know, so.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, I do. I know so.
Oh well, that's good.
No, so obviously you're specialising in online dog training. One of the things actually I am finding that's really interesting now that we're moving services more online is that we can be more specialised, because we don't have to be a jack of all trades just to.
And that's what you do, isn't it? I tend to think I'm fairly general. I feel I do a bit of an MOT. So yeah. I'm my specialism is to be general, if you can do that.
Although you're very good with puppies.
I do puppies, yes. I did do much more on that, but yes. I think the thing about online, I don't know if you find this, is that people's expectations are different. They don't expect you to come in and have a magic wand and solve. They realize they've got to do some work.
Yeah.
And also, I think the best thing about it is the recording.
Yeah.
Give them the recording. I don't have to write all those notes, and they don't have to read through all these notes. All I say to them is, look, go and watch it again in a few days, because I promise you, I've packed so much into this hour, you'll never take it all in.
No, that's right.
If they have a problem, I just say, well, tell you what, watch the recording again, then come back to me. And they
it saves so much writing, doesn't it?
It does, and reading. So
I remember, and people they never actually ever used to really read all the reports. We'd send them files and files and files, links and links.
I was writing the things.
Yeah.
Sometimes now somebody wants me to do a report for their vet, and I find it a real bore, because I'm not a report.
But now, like literally, you just send them the link. It's great.
Really good.
Yeah. So, what sort of projects have you got coming up?
I don't know really. Well, that's a funny question, isn't it? I think I'm still keep catching up with the current project, really. I haven't mastered it properly. I also want to try to find I'm getting this subscription group going, basically, because with my main group, I've got an awful lot of people in there, over 2,000. And there's so many people I'm just giving free information to. And I think that's got to stop. So now I'm getting organised the group where it's a subscription group. So they're a very small monthly subscription, really small. But it means that I'm actually giving my help to the people who've actually paid me.
Yeah, and also the people, I tend to find that the people who pay you are the ones that do the work. So they're the ones that are going to get the results.
Absolutely.
You know.
So that is my current project, is to really get that off the ground.
And the thing is, we've all seen things on the internet and it's just gone straight over our head, and we don't give it a second thought. So and then we think, oh well, that didn't work. We never actually even tried it.
Right.
But when you've actually
paid this, that doesn't work. We try this. And the other thing, because it's so much of it's from Facebook, is that on any group, a breed specific group, for instance, you get all these people putting their oar in. Well, with my dog, I do this, and I don't, and you ought to do this, and you ought to. Yeah. This poor person's being bombarded by everything, as I say, from spraying it with water to, and it's very hard. I don't know if you find it's hard to keep quiet.
Yeah. But I also find with subscription services and things like that, they literally, if they paid you even a nominal amount, just a very small amount, then they listen to you, and then they get the results, and it does sink in, doesn't it? So actually, they're doing themselves a favour by paying you.
Yeah. My subscription, I only offer it to the people I've already had the one-to-ones with.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had to whittle it down somehow, and I like to be able to offer them some ongoing. Things often go downhill when people sort of go back to their old ways, or the dog develops new things when it becomes adolescent, so it means they can get back to you.
Absolutely. And it's nice to keep them in the loop when you find out new things yourself as well, isn't it? So you might do some CPD or something and find out something that might really help them, and then you can just pass that straight on to them because you're still in touch.
And just newsy things like today, there's talk of dog theft being a criminal offence.
Good.
I mean, that's pretty relevant,
Massive.
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. So
Mm.
I've got my list of questions here, but we've already pretty
Oh,
much gone
dear.
through most of them. All right, so we have for anybody who doesn't know, we kind of have like a little form that we send out to our people that we're getting to know, but then we just turn to talk about anything and everything, and it just goes out the window.
Well, I haven't given you a chance to ask me anything, have I?
Well, I'm actually loving having you on because I haven't seen you for ages, so it's nice to have a little chat with you, to be honest.
Yeah.
So blah blah blah, just quickly reading. So when you're communicating with your clients, right, this is probably a good one, because a lot of your clients will come in and they will have heard different things on the internet about different equipment to use, and, you know, like you say, the spray water and all the rest of it. So how do you promote force-free training? How do you tell them that this is a better idea? This is, you know, this is how it's going to work, you know?
Well, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw it in there.
Yes, I think, you know, because I go through questionnaires, I deal with each thing as it comes up. You know, for instance, if somebody, like say barking, the dog barks and the person shouts at the dog. So with that, my way of dealing would be saying, well, you know, you've got your child of 7 years old who suddenly starts screaming, there's a man with a gun coming up the path, we're all going to be dead. I said, that's how your dog's feeling. You're saying, help, help, help. Now then, would you say to your son, shut up? Or would you just ignore him and say, you get on with it then? No, you wouldn't, would you? You'd help him out.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of way I'd probably use an analogy.
Yeah, children analogies are always really helpful when it comes to dogs. I know we're not supposed to humanize, and we're not supposed to
I do it all the
I
time.
can't even say anthropomorphize.
Yeah,
that one, right? I know we're not supposed to do that, but I do it constantly, you know.
Oh, is it me who's frozen or you?
No, I'm still here, so I can still see you too. So
okay, yeah,
okay, but yeah, well, we've got quite a few people watching actually at the moment, so hello everybody. If you've got any questions for Theo, we're going to be on for about another 5 minutes or so, so just fire them up on the ICAN main page, and I
don't make them too difficult.
If there are any that we miss, then Theo can always go back and check afterwards, can't you? So, you know, but yeah, so I'm just going back to my list of questions now then. So regarding being part of ICAN, obviously you've been part of ICAN since the very beginning, haven't you? Being friends with Lisa, who founded it. So
Yes.
how have you found being part of ICAN has helped you?
Well, I like to be part of something which represents the whole modern force-free, you know, the whole ethics of the whole thing. And what is interesting is, I mean, I belong to, like lots of us, belong to separate organizations. Now, what is good about ICAN is it doesn't represent me, it represents the organization I belong to. Right. And so, you know, it almost gets these different organizations, but, you know, like in every business, there's a little bit of rivalry and a bit of stuff. It gets them together. Yeah. And you know, that's I don't know if that answers the question, but
it's nice to have input. It's
nice to be able to put the ICAN symbol on your things, you know. Yeah,
it's nice to have input from different organizations that we're not necessarily a member of, but we're friends with through ICAN.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think we've just come to everything really. So yeah, you know, it's coming up to 7:30, and so it's been really great having you on, Theo, and it's absolutely, I must say, you're an inspiration to me, and I know you are to a lot of people.
I don't think why, but there we go. I'm so pleased.
You're my Mrs. Classy. I think you're amazing.
Oh, I think you are pretty amazing as well. So.
All right, and I love reading your blogs, by the way. How long have you been writing those?
My son said to me probably about 8-9 years ago, he said, why don't you write little reports of your people you go to? I said, I can't do that. Nobody wants to read them and I can't be bothered. And I tried one and it really went down well. And I can't do them all. I haven't got time. But the ones which have something a little bit different and significant, I do. But I was so resistant to doing anything new to begin with. And he, you know, and I really owe him, because I do believe if I hadn't been doing that, I wouldn't have a business. I think
really,
actually, I think when I was doing, but certainly the in-person, it made my website worth looking at.
You were doing online dog training before it even became a thing.
Well, in a way, yes, through my stories, yes.
So if anyone who wants to know, your website, is it doggydog.co.uk?
Doggydog.co.uk. That's
Yeah, okay.
DOGIDOG, doggy dog.
So
I wish I called it something different. Years and years ago, that's what it was, and I can't change it now.
Well, no, it's something memorable, actually. It's really good. So I'll pop a link in that in the comments for people if they want to go over and read your blogs. And you know, they're absolutely brilliant, and they're absolute nuggets of gold of information in there. So
thank you.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I'm going to let you go in a minute, Theo, but it has been so amazing catching up with you, and we love having you as part of ICAN, and you absolutely are an inspiration. And I would suggest anybody that is on Facebook, go over and check out Theo's pages. What's the name of your main page on Facebook?
Theo Stewart, I think.
Yeah,
my main page. I think if you just look at Theo Stewart, yes, I couldn't tell you. It's something like the dog lady behavior.
You've got so many of them.
I keep changing it.
Yeah. But because you've got several groups, and obviously you've got your main page as well. But I do recommend going over and having a look at Theo's stuff online, because it's a masterclass in how to get an online business going. Honestly, it is so.
Literally, I keep asking you for advice. I don't know why you say that.
No, honestly, I look at your stuff and I wish I had half the content you do. You're amazing. All right. But it's been absolutely wonderful to see you, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. And I will stick some links in there for you. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Freya. Thank you for interviewing me so nicely.
Oh no, it's been lovely. All right.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.